Hey guys, it's Dave here, and finally, after all of the wait, all of this time, we're finally here to talk about the next couple chapters of the Season 1 roadmap. It's not all of the Season 1 roadmap. I think there will most likely be one more major chapter after the next two chapters that we're about to talk about, but we finally have enough details that we can share with you guys of the next couple chapters. So before we get into that, I want to thank everyone for their patience on this. We've basically, for the last probably 6 weeks or so, we've been going back and forth on ideas. We come up with an idea, we think about how it fits into the story. We then have to go off and sort of vet that idea from a technical point of view. Can we actually build it? Will the community actually enjoy it? Does it break any of sort of the existing story or anything? And so we've gone through a lot of ideas and disqualified a lot of them. But I think what we've landed on is a ton of fun. You guys are going to be super excited for it. And so I'm super excited to be sharing it with you guys. Real quick, if you're viewing this prototype on your own, and the links will be in the description to this YouTube video, you can come in here, and this is what you'll see. I'm in full screen right now, so if you just press F on your keyboard, you can go into full screen. If you're viewing on desktop, then you're obviously going to want to click on the desktop button. If you're viewing on mobile, then you're going to want to go into mobile. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the roadmap now. So I'm going to click on desktop because I'm on a desktop computer. And what we'll see here is the whole roadmap. You can horizontally scroll through the roadmap to see everything. You can see we have some spoiler art back there in the background. But what we're looking at right now is, of course, the Season 1 roadmap. Again, you can press F to go into full screen. I'm already in full screen, but you can also press Z on your keyboard to sort of cycle through different zoom levels. I'm actually going to go to zoom to 100%. It's going to make it a little bit bigger. And so you can do the same if you're on a desktop computer. So the way that the roadmap works is just this horizontal scroll rather than doing like, a white paper or anything. We thought something that was much more suitable for Derpbirds was going to be something a little more interactive, a little more fun, and something that felt a little more gamified. So we came up with these cards, and again, you can horizontally scroll to see a card that represents each chapter in the roadmap. There's a lot of interaction on each card. You can click Learn More on each of these to open it up and see additional details for each chapter in the roadmap. We will be adding more details to each of these, sort of as we continue developing the roadmap. But we have enough information in here right now that, whether you're brand new to the project or you're someone who's been around for the project for a while, you may be interested to sort of like click into those and get some more details. You can also interact with some of these little, mini cards that we have here. They're sort of the artifacts from each chapter to see some like additional cool assets that we have for each chapter. So you could click on this and it would bring you to the YouTube video that was sort of our initial sort of kickoff video that we had, like our initial hype trailer. It'll just open that in a new tab. You could click on this to see the image of the perfect specimen rarity chart and so on. And we have those on each card. All right, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the previous chapters, I should say, because we're mostly here to talk about the next upcoming two chapters. But I do want to give a really quick rundown on everything that's happened leading up to where we're at with the latest chapters of the story. So chapter 1, back in September, we kicked off Derpbirds, and there were 10,000 original Derpbirds. The 10,000 Derpbirds are made up of 14 archetypes. You can see the archetypes here in the Learn More. We have the Dave Bird, the Astro Bird, the Magic Bird. You get down to the Mad Scientist and the Deity. And the way that the birds are made up of is we sort of took those 14 characters and scrambled their attributes across the 7 attributes of the Derpbirds. So in this, let's look at this guy here, for example. He's got the stoner body, the mad scientist back attribute. He's got the ninja beak, the redneck bird head, the magician ear, the cyborg eyes, and so on. And so rather than just having a bunch of random attributes, we have 14 characters, and we've sort of scrambled them across all the birds. The only other really important thing you need to know about the original Derpbirds is that the OG bird here, like the original Derpbirds, are your access ticket to the entire roadmap. That means regardless of what part of the roadmap you're interacting with, you will need a Derpbird to participate. So again, it's sort of your access ticket to everything else. So about a month later, we launched the incubator because there are, I should say, like from the story point of view, the 10,000 Derpbirds live on a planet called Derpatonia. And as far as we know, from what we've observed, there are no female Derpbirds Because of that, and because the Derpbirds want to continue populating the planet of Derpatonia, the mad scientist, which is one of our archetypes, built an incubation device that would allow the male birds to sort of create an egg. And they'd be able to pass their DNA down into the egg and eventually hatch it into a baby Derpbird, which is called a Derpling, which is the next chapter, and we'll talk about that in a second. Right before the incubator launched, some evil force hacked the incubator. The name of this force is Pred, which is Derp in reverse. And we're going to talk a lot more about Pred here in a minute. But it turns out the Pred force was able to infiltrate Derpatonia and hack the incubator and injected their chaos virus into the incubator. And so every single egg has a chaos virus injected into it. And you can actually see that here. If you click into learn more, you can actually see more of the eggs here. And you'll see that virus is present on all of the eggs. So that was sort of the first introduction to the Pred, right? The enemies of the Derpbirds. And as I said, we'll talk more about them here in a minute as well. So other interesting things about the eggs is that we're actually, there's a cap of 15,000 eggs, and 7,500 of them are actually for hatching Derplings. The other 7,500 eggs are actually going to be used for the upcoming next chapter of the roadmap, which is the Pred event, which is, again, we'll talk about here in a second. So there's been a lot of confusion about that, like, oh my God, we already hit 7,500 Derplings, so why are there 15,000 eggs? And that's what they're there for. There's some other things here I won't review, but you guys can certainly come in here and read about the eggs for yourself. But either way, the next major chapter of the roadmap was hatching those eggs to get your Derplings. So 2 weeks after users got their eggs, they were able to bring those eggs to the website and go to the hatchery and hatch those eggs. The Derplings are, I think, sort of like the most obvious thing about the Derplings is that you're sort of sitting in the egg, and they're actually sitting in the bottom half of the egg that they were hatched from. This is pretty significant because we had, for the eggs, we had this concept of perfect eggs, and you can sort of see how this plays out here. So I won't go into too much detail about perfect eggs, but you can actually see that this was a perfect egg, and it hatched this Derpling, and so you can see that it's actually sitting in the bottom half of the egg that it was incubated in. Other really cool thing about the Derplings is that a part of the chaos virus that was injected into the incubator allowed for there to be female Derplings. And so actually what we have here is a female Derpling here, where you can see it has its little eyelashes, it has its little shorter beak, and that's actually how you denote, between male Derplings and female Derplings is the eyelashes and the shorter beak on the females. The most exciting thing, or in my opinion, one of the most exciting things about the Derplings is it was the very first transaction on Cardano to use multi-sig transactions. And this was really significant. It really allowed us to do some really cool things. But I'm not going to go into the technical details of a multi-sig transaction, but in short, it just allowed transactions to be much more secure, much faster, cheaper, and it overall sort of helped with the congestion issues that are, that we sometimes see on the Cardano blockchain. So it was really a really significant sort of advancement in the minting technology that we see for Cardano NFTs. And we'll be reusing that technology for the upcoming roadmap chapter as well. Again, lots more details that we could talk about here, such as the egg shards that you can acquire sometimes by hatching Derplings and so on, but we won't talk too much more about that in this video. All right, and so with that out of the way, let's talk about the upcoming features. The next one isn't really a chapter, but it is a significant feature that we're launching, and that is the achievement system, which if you've ever played any video game, or I should say if you played a video game in the last 15 years, then you're familiar with achievement systems. But this is also going to be really the first of its kind feature on the Cardano, sort of in the Cardano NFT space. There's one other product that has a similar feature, but what we've sort of built here is pretty significant. So the way that it works is you can earn achievements. There's 3 different types of achievements. There are achievements that are related to collecting Derp NFTs, right? So that's the original Derpbirds, or it's the Derplings, or it's the eggs, or it'll be the other drops that we're doing for the project. There will be NFTs related to just collecting. There are achievements related to collecting, and there are achievements related to participating in the roadmap. So examples of this are, like achievements for incubating, right? There's multiple achievements related to incubating. There are achievements related to hatching derplings, right? So using the hatchery and the different outcomes that you could have got there. So that's the second type of achievement. And then the third type, really, we're saying chatting in Discord, but it's really sort of the social achievements. So that's just being active in Discord. There are other types of social achievements that we're looking to bring online, such as your engagement on Twitter, for example. So really the idea with the achievement system is just to acknowledge and to reward your activity and your participating in the Derpbirds project. What you earn by getting those achievements is, every time you get an achievement, you get experience points, so your overall sort of Derpbirds account levels up. You get, well, that's really what I'm saying here, is that you get the experience points for the achievement, which go to your account level. But there's also this notion of badges, and to kick this feature off, we're going to have 84 achievements, and they're going to be 8 badges. Badges are acquired by sort of accomplishing or unlocking related sets of achievements. And I'm not going to give them away because they're all sort of spoilerish. But when you unlock a badge, it's actually going to be displayed on your profile, your Derpbirds public profile page. So that's sort of achievements in a nutshell. Again, we have 84 of them at launch. We'll be launching many more of them with each new feature of the roadmap. Oh, one last thing to know about the achievement system, and maybe the most significant thing actually, is the leaderboard mechanic. So there are going to be at least 2 different types of leaderboards. The first one is the overall leaderboard, which ranks you based off of the amount of experience you have, right? So if you have more experience than anyone else, you'll be in first place on that leaderboard. And the second type of leaderboard that we'll have is a monthly leaderboard. So every month, or most likely every month, we'll see how it goes, we're planning to kick off a new leaderboard which tracks the net change in your experience points over that month. That means if you have, so everyone starts at 0 at the beginning of that month, and over the course of that month, everything that you do, right, every message you send in chat, every new Derpbird that you sort of acquire that has an achievement unlocked or associated with it, if you were to earn new badges or anything like that, all of those experience points will go towards, will also go into that sort of monthly leaderboard, and you could sort of climb the ranks and compete on that monthly leaderboard. We're going to be doing giveaways and rewards for both the overall leaderboard and the monthly. And some examples of that is, I think for the first monthly, our plan right now is, I want to say it was up to 3,000 ADA that we're going to do for the first monthly leaderboard competition. But we may also, we are planning other types of significant giveaways as well. So we may give away like experience points boosts to those who win. We may give away, there may be special achievements associated with sort of being in the top 10 of a leaderboard, for example. But we'll also be giving away other cool, valuable prizes like rare other Cardano NFTs, right? That could be NFTs from other projects. It could be special NFTs from our own project. So we have all kinds of sort of fun goodies associated with the achievement system and competing. All right, so when is this launching? Early 2022. We were going to launch it this year, but we decided, over the holidays, there's definitely a bit of a lull in activity, and we really want to kick it off, sort of go out there with a big bang. So we'll be kicking it off early 2022, ideally within the first week of January. All right, with that out of the way, we can finally talk about the next major story chapter of the Derpbirds roadmap, and that is the Pred invasion. Now, we've already been introduced to the Preds. Remember, way back here with the incubator, we know that they hacked the incubator. They injected their chaos virus into the eggs. And if you watch the Pred hack, the incubator training video, you actually get to sort of like see their first appearance in the story. But now they have arrived in Derpatonia in full force. The Astro Bird, which is one of the original archetypes of the Mel Derpbirds, has picked up their signal, coming from space around Derpatonia. And what he's picked up is the Pred mothership that has now arrived here in Derpatonia. Right, so what we know about them is that they're an ancient race of warlords and conquerors. They've already traveled to all these other dimensions and wiped out the civilizations there. In order to get a pred, and we're going to talk about this in a little more detail here in a second, you will need a derp bird or a derpling and eggs, right? So these are the 3 types of resources that you'll need to get a pred of your own. The eggs are going to be lost forever, right? We're gonna burn those in NFT speak. All the eggs will be completely sort of burned and destroyed. But the derp birds and the derplings will not be burned, and we'll talk about that more here in a second. And the last thing to know is that though there are fewer pred than there are derp birds, the pred are much more powerful than derp birds, and that's sort of the explanation for why there will be a different number of preds versus derp birds and derplings. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. How do you get a pred? Well, we know that the pred have already invaded Derpatonia, right? Again, they hacked the incubator and so on. But we've just found out that the pred have actually laid a lot of traps around Derpatonia. And when a derp bird or a derpling walks into that trap, it activates the trap, and a portal from the pred mothership opens up and allows a pred to come through. They take any eggs that the derp bird or the derpling has, and they use those eggs as fuel to jettison off that derp bird or that derpling up to the pred mothership where it's locked up. It goes into a pred prison, or sort of a cryostasis state. But we're not destroying them. Again, we're not destroying that derp bird and that derpling are not killed. They're not burned or anything. They just go locked away into a prison. Now, let's sort of like jump out of the story for a minute and talk about why we're doing this. The main reason why we're doing this is because, this is something I think a lot of us are already aware of. The Cardano NFT space is not really growing as fast as a lot of us thought that it would. It still will grow. It's going to have its explosive growth moment at some point in the future, right? More DeFi services are coming online, and when that happens, we think there'll be a lot of new people coming into the space to collect NFTs. But because it's not growing, and because Derpbirds is a gamified NFT collecting experience, we're trying to create an experience that really fits the unique size of the Cardano NFT space. So what I mean by that is we have 10,000 Derpbirds, we have 7,500 Derplings. We want to take some of those off the table. It's almost like playing Monopoly with way too much money, right? Imagine you're trying to play Monopoly and follow the rules, except at the very beginning of the game, everyone's given like $100,000, to play with. Well, none of the rules make sense anymore. The game doesn't really work out too well with that type of, if you've scaled the money up that much. And so it's very similar to Derpers. Like we've created this experience for the Cardano NFT community, but in order for it to really work out well, we need to scale back some of the pieces. We need to take some of the Monopoly money off the table. So the plan is to take 2,500 Derpbirds off the table and to take 2,500 Derplings off the table, and don't destroy them. Keep them so that when the Cardano NFT space does grow, if the Derpbirds community decides, it'll be a large community vote, then the Derpbirds will create sort of a story-driven roadmap feature where those who originally traded their Derpbird for a pred can actually sort of go on some sort of mission to rescue that Derpbird or to rescue that Derpling and sort of bring them back into their collection. So that's sort of both the story element there and also the justification for why we're going to take some Derpbirds and some Derplings off the table. It's really just to take some of them out of circulation so that we can have sort of a more balanced experience for the Cardano NFT space. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're not burning them. That's why we're going to hold them. So I think through all of that, it should be pretty clear how you get a pred, right? You'll use a derp. When we launch the pred evasion event on the website, you'll be able to trade a Derpbird or a Derpling plus an egg for a pred. You'll get a pred in return. There's a lot more details here that we've included. We will be adding a lot more to this pop-up where you can see more about it. We'll have details like the exact launch date, a lot of details of how the Lux system works. If you've been in general chat over the last few days, you've already seen a lot of some of these details discussed, but we'll be including a lot more details here. I will say that the way that, just because if you're watching this, you may be really interested to know that, yes, it does require one egg to convert a Derpbird or Derpling to a pred, but you will have the opportunity to get a more rare pred based off of the amount of luck that you have during the conversion. The way that you get luck is depends upon the rarity of your Derpbird. It's a little different for Derplings. We won't talk too much about that, but you can also boost your luck by using more eggs for the conversion. I won't talk too much about the numbers or anything like that, but you can boost your luck, which will ensure you get a more rare pred if you are willing to use more eggs during the conversion, during that swap interaction where you're going to trade your Derp bird for a pred. So that's really, I think, at a very high level, that's what you need to know about the pred invasion. Again, we'll be sharing a lot more details about this. We're really excited to show you guys more of the artwork as we get more of that out there. Unlike, with Derplings, we sort of kept the Derplings under wraps. We didn't even show you guys what they looked like before they arrived. But with pred, we will be putting many more previews out there of what pred looks like, just because you guys are going to give up a Derp bird or a Derpling in order to get it. So we want to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting. So what you see right here and sort of like previewed here in the background. In fact, if I just scroll all the way over, you can see a few of them here. What we have is just the concept work for pred, right? It may look similar to this, it may look totally different, but what you guys will, I think everyone, especially if you're really into Derpers already, you're really going to appreciate and love what we're doing with the pred artwork. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump to the next chapter that we're ready to talk about, and that is the faction war mechanic. All right, so with the pred mothership, right, they've now arrived. They're in full force to Derpatonia, and it now comes down to sort of this battle for the future of Derpatonia, and it's the Derp birds versus the preds. So what is the faction war? How does it work? Every day there will be a battle, right? A daily battle is what we're calling them. And you get to decide as the player, do you want to battle for Derp birds or do you want to battle for pred? You get to make this decision, for yourself every single day. There will be, what you get for participating in those battles. The first thing that you're going to get are BPs, right? Battle points. Battle points are spent on unlocking loot crates. Loot crates have all kinds of goodies in them, right? They're going to have actually more BPs. You can open a crate and sometimes you'll get a bonus of BPs. Sometimes you'll get experience points. There will be remember, if we go back to the achievement system, there are participating achievements, right? So there's going to be participating achievements just for participating in the faction war, but also for opening crates, right? So there's achievements associated with it. There will also be badges associated with opening crates and participating in the faction war. But we might sneak in some, again, rare, valuable Cardano NFTs into some of those crates. We may throw in ADA into some of those crates. We have a lot of ideas. But the big thing that sort of the thing that we're really excited about that you can get in the loot crates are the pieces that you need to build your own custom NFT. And we're not going to reveal exactly what that is yet. I'm sure half of you will guess what it is quickly. But what you'll get from that crate is going to be the parts and the pieces that you need to build your own customizable NFT. And that's something we can't wait to talk more about. There's been a little bit of this that's already happened in the Cardano NFT space, but what we're planning is I think, quite a bit more significant from what I've seen on other people's roadmaps. But it's going to be this really fun, interactive experience of getting to sort of mix and match your, this process of building your own NFT. You could trade the parts that you have for other people's parts. And build the exact NFT that you want. Something else that's really cool is because you'll have to be logged in to do this, we'll actually get to embed your name in the metadata of the NFT that you assemble, that you put together. So I should say that another really important mechanic, right? Because getting crates is the end goal of the faction war, and because you need battle points to get crates, right? So again, the end goal is to get those crates. To get those crates, you need BPs. Then let's talk a little bit about how you get the BPs. You get them for participating, but there's a lot of other sort of nuanced things at play here. And by the way, a lot of this is in flux. We want to talk about these ideas and discuss them with you guys in the Project Ideas channel. Of course, get input from you guys. No doubt you'll make contributions that we'll want to adopt and implement. But let's talk a little bit about how it works so far. So every day when you go to sign up for the battle, you'll pick which faction you want to join. And you're going to have a certain amount of fighter slots that you get to use for that daily battle. Right? Whether you decide to fight for Derp or pred, you'll be able to commit 5 Derp birds or Derplings or 5 pred to that daily battle. You get to pick which birds or which Derplings you want to use or which preds you want to put into those fighter slots, and you get BPs for each fighter that you commit. That means if you only have like 3 Derp birds, or let's use Pred for example. Let's say you only have 3 Pred and you want to battle for Pred that day, you'll be able to maximize the BPs that you get by having 5 Pred. If you want to fight for Derp birds, as long as you have 5 Derp birds or 5 Derplings, for example, or sorry, whether you have 5 total Derp birds and Derplings, you'll be able to commit to those and sort of maximize the BPs you can get. In addition to that, every day for both Derp birds and Pred, or I should say for Team Derp and for Team Pred, whatever faction you're fighting for, there will be ways to accumulate BP multipliers, right? So you can actually get multipliers on the points that you earn. And the way that you get that will be based off of the attributes that we're giving multipliers to that day. So a very basic example, the buff bird has a rocket launcher for his back attribute, right? He carries his badass, rocket launcher on his back. It could be that on one day, if you have Derp birds with a rocket launcher on your back, you get a BP points multiplier for each bird that you use that has a rocket launcher on its back. We'll do this for it's going to change every day, right? And we may even make it so that there's multiple attributes every single day and that you could use to get a bonus for. Another idea we have is to put out in advance the attributes that you'll need for the upcoming daily battles. So for example, let's say today's Monday, we may say, okay, tomorrow you need the axe back attribute. Or the next day, we're giving a bonus to Derplings that have the satellite head, for example, right? And then that way you can plan in advance and decide, okay, do I want the BP points multiplier? If so, do I have one of those Derplings? If not, maybe I want to go trade for one or buy one off of the secondary market. So there's going to be a lot of ways to get multipliers for those BPs. The next sort of layer of complexity here is that there will be ways, at least we're thinking at this point, of unlocking additional fighter slots. So as the faction war is running, and at this time we think we're going to do it for at least a minimum of 30 days, during the duration of that faction war, you can actually unlock additional fighter slots. And that's going to be, again, another way that you can get many more BPs unlocked, is by unlocking those additional fighter slots and having another fighter in that slot every day during the battle. We have a few other ideas. I'm not ready to talk about those yet, but we're considering playing with the idea of giving bonus, additional BPs, far less, but additional BPs for every other Derp bird or Derpling, or Pred for that matter, that you have in your wallet. So an example of that is, let's say you get 10 BPs for each Pred that you have in one of those 5 fighter slots. You get 50 BPs that day, not accounting for any points multipliers that you have. But let's say you have another 15 Preds in your wallet that they're not getting used in the, they're not able to be put into one of those fighter slots because you've already filled those 5 fighter slots. Let's say you have another 15 Preds. We may give an additional 1 BP, for example, for each additional Pred that you have. Again, that's just an example. We're not 100% committed to going with that idea, but that might be something else that we do. Okay, so again, that's the high level overview of the faction war. You can come in here and sort of like see a few more details. We sort of allude to the fact here that the things that you get from the crates, you can sort of use them to create your own custom NFT, and that's something that we're extremely excited about. But what we have coming up, of course, is going to be the exact launch date of the faction war. This, of course, is going to be completely dependent upon the launch date for Pred, which we haven't announced yet. Again, we'll be adding all of the additional faction war mechanics in here, more details of how the loot crates work, and of course more details on how you can assemble your custom NFTs. The last thing I want to say about the custom NFTs, because that's really sort of the big, the major reward for participating in the faction war, is that not only is it going to be a really fun experience building them, we think, right, and collecting the different parts, the different pieces for that NFT, but we're really wanting to go, just to the next level on the artwork for these things that you'll be able to use to build your custom NFT. So we think that, you know, the artwork that we've sort of been playing around with it. We're thinking about working with, not only will James, you know, Art Derp, be sort of directing that art, but we may even use some of our other resources, right? Some of you guys know we already have another artist that we're working with on the project who's done the artwork for the badges. We have, you know, another friend, like our artist on the Pendulum project, who, you know, again, you guys have heard us talk a little bit about that. We're thinking about different ways that we can really create just a lot of excitement around the artwork for this customizable NFT. And so that's really going to be the big reward of the faction war. And the last thing I want to mention about that customizable NFT is it will be that customizable NFT that you need for whatever comes next on the roadmap, right? I said at the beginning that we'll most likely have one final chapter in the season 1 roadmap. It may be that this is an optional chapter in the roadmap. It may come down to the community to sort of help us decide. You know, we have our own ideas, but we want to bring them to you guys. But whatever it is, we want to tie that customizable NFT to that last stage in the roadmap. And as always, you will need an original, you know, one of the OG Derpers to participate in this as well. But we want to sort of lock this functionality to those who have that customized, sort of customizable NFT that they've built. So again, really excited for this. This will be a first of its kind in the Cardano NFT space. And you better believe that everything that we're going to do here, there's going to be a sweet UI around it. We're going to be using, you know, the latest and greatest sort of minting technology, like multi-sig and so on. Everything that we did with Derplings was cool, but like what we're planning to do with Pred and with the faction war is, in my opinion, you know, really going to blow that away. So we're really excited to start revealing that. And that's it. That's everything that we wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys really enjoy this format. I hope you get in here and sort of, you know, look at the roadmap, interact with it, stress test it for us and so on before we get out there and share it with a broader audience. But really, guys, thanks so much for watching the video and participating in the project. Again, we said from the beginning that, you know, our goal for the project is to build something that's fun and that sort of elevates the entire Cardano NFT space, or I should say the Cardano NFT space. And so we're pretty excited about what we've built so far and what we're moving towards. We really hope you guys enjoy it. But we look forward to getting your feedback and hearing your ideas for both Pred Invasion and the faction war, and of course, beyond. So if you like this, you know, please get out there, you know, help us spread the word in the Cardano NFT space. Let people know what's coming. Let's really focus on getting, you know, things. Okay, and that's it. That's really all we wanted to talk about in this video. I'm sure it's much longer than what most of you were expecting. It's probably longer than what I was planning, but you know, it needed to be done. So, yeah, I hope you guys get in here, play around with the roadmap, right? Give us feedback on it. Do you like this format? Again, we want to do something a little different from a white paper and have something that can sort of grow with the project. But definitely get in there, give us a feedback. I'm sure there's a million typos, and so you can all DM me on Discord to help me track all those down. But yeah, if you like this and you're excited about it, you know, let us know that as well. Hearing that really is the fuel for, you know, keeping us going and building the project. We've said from the beginning that everything we built is sort of community focused and also you know, community defined. You guys help us sort of shape the direction of where things are going. But really our goal, sort of the core goals, are to build something that's fun for you guys, that our existing community loves. And we hope it attracts new people into the project as well. But we really want to build a project that you guys love and that also sort of elevates and raises the bar for the Cardano NFT space. And we're pretty excited about what we've built here, and we think it sort of helps us check off both of those, the checkbox for both of those goals. So get out there, share the video, tell people on Twitter, you know, what's coming and why they should be getting excited. Yeah, and we're super excited to be talking about what's coming next as we get further into the development stages for the Pred Invasion and the faction war. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're excited about it. And I will talk to you all in Discord. Talk to you later.